welcome back. Thank you for joining, and I would like to take this opportunity before I lead you on to the videos of today to thank everybody who's subscribed to our channel, for everybody who's watched our videos, and for all your comments and words of support about what we do here at the Frisian Experience and the sanctuary that we run. Today's video is again a little bit of everything of what's happened here today. It's Monday, the start of a week, start of another busy week. We never have a dull moment here. There's always so much going on, and I would like you just to enjoy the next half hour, 40 minutes of just the horses, things that have been going on here today. But most importantly, this young lady who you'll see at the start of the video, it was my main purpose today to get little Peppa Pig here, Mable, off to the vets to find out why she still wasn't right after the abscess that she had about 5 to 6 weeks ago. We thought we'd cleared it up, it had drained, but there was something still bothering her. Up we went to the vets. She's just slightly shocking news that I got. Wasn't what I expected. I knew it wasn't going to be quite as straightforward as I hoped. And you'll see at the end of this video what he actually found. But Mable is in here now for the night. She's going to be in here for a while, but that will all be explained later on because Neil very kindly let me film what he was saying about what he found, and I hope that you'll find it interesting. This is a very good opportunity for me to again thank every single one of you, whether you subscribe, whether you like, whether you comment, whether you've been able to donate to one of our fundraisers or buy raffle tickets for our grand raffle that is finishing this Wednesday at 2 o'clock on Wednesday. Every penny that comes forward goes towards the upkeep of all the Frisians here and enables us to look at ways that we can try and start improving the facilities that we have for them. And there's so many things that we've still got planned that we'd so love to do. All of your support is hugely welcome. Please enjoy the next series of videos of today at the Frisian Experience. Thank you for watching. Morning everyone. The rain has finally stopped. We've had 3 days of torrential rain. They've all been getting very soggy. We've all been getting very soggy. I've just got Hiddy Hops, little Floppy Doo, who's had a couple of nights in with Hoitzer because it was only fair. It's the older boys, but they have a nice dry stable for a couple of days because they do get tired. And I'm heading him back out into the field with all the girls, and Hannes, who's joined the girls for the last couple of days. The Becky's a little bit high, not as bad as it was last month when we had the torrential rain again. Here's all the girls. There's Angel Eyes at the front. He's looking rather pleased with himself. Let's see if Hidda's going to ask him whether he's looked after all these ladies. Angel Eyes, you're coming in because we've got Chris, our farrier, here today. We need him to look at a few of their feet. There's Yodel, who will have been boss down here, and her sister Niki News. Oh, you all coming to see your man. And little Micah. Have you all missed him? His special child who has to come over and chew on a head collar. Always. Now, up the top there, that's Mable, little Peppa Pig. And she's done this for a couple of days where she's just stood up on the banking, not wanting to come down here. And it's one of the reasons why we brought her in the other night, and today I'm taking her up to our vets. So Neil is going to have a look at her, and I don't know whether you can tell from this distance, she's not walking quite right on that front 4. Now, she had an abscess for a while, and Chris took her shoe off, had a dig around, found 2 places where it had burst. We poulticed it and it was looking so much better, but she's still not quite right. So I'm going to take her up this afternoon for Neil to have a look at her and do some x-rays. He could come down here with the x-ray machine, but in situations where we're not quite sure what's going on, I would far rather go to the surgery where they've got all the facilities there to have a really good look at what's going on. I will bring her in now. Along with all going to be coming in today to have a bit of a clean up, a groom, a tidy up, a bit of loving, because it has, as I said, been pretty miserable over the weekend. Now you can probably see in this video what Mabel's doing with that front right, which is where she had the abscess. She's just swinging it out to the side. So before I take her up to Penrith, because Chris is here now, I'm going to get Chris to have a little look first. Got Chris here, he's just started on Vibram. I'm just washing down legs, done Mabel's, I'm on Micah's. Little Jubbers has come to help. There's Iceman, his rug's looking absolutely disgusting. And little Nero over the back there. This is what happens when we get this much rain. This is why they need to come up regularly. This is Iceman's legs and his tail, and that's just from a couple of days in the mud. But once we've got the front of the fields stoned up, hopefully they won't get quite as bad. Annie's come to help too. Yay. Nero's fidgety. These are all chilled out. Go and get stuck into that tail hole, then I can spray you with water. Yeah. At least it's warm water.
I need more water.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
There you go. We always put the softer setting on at the top.
Absolutely.
Get into the roots. Because otherwise, if you put cold water on their docks, they very often sit down and it's not very pleasant for them. That's what he thinks of it. Oh,
there you go.
Thanks. That will go on the harder spray for getting the worst of the mud off. Annie, you just supervising. Chris is just having another look at Mabel's foot, because so he's got the hoof testers there. She's not reacting to that, is she?
No, not at all. Nothing. I'm not bothered, is it?
No. So we're not quite sure what's going on.
She'd think she'd react if it was infected.
Yeah. Nero's just come round for Chris to tidy up his feet, as I showed you the other day. They've just broken with our stony ground. He's having a little fidget. He's still very grubby. You have had your legs and your tail washed.
Come on.
Good boy. Plus he's curious. He's got a very busy little brain.
He's just wanting to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Good lad. That's it.
Good boy.
Good. That's a lot better.
Yeah, that looks better.
Yeah, just a little wing on there, just chipped off, that's all.
Right. But hopefully we can get away without shoeing him for a while.
I would say so.
I think only once he starts doing a little bit more, perhaps in the spring.
Needs a bit of practice with his feet forward.
Yeah, we'll practice that before next time.
Yeah.
Nero's now come out with Iceman into the round pen. Little Obi-Wan over there. He's had his shoes done this morning by Chris as well. It's nice for them to get their rugs off
And okay, they're not clean, but at least have their legs cleaned up, their tails cleaned up. They'll get a brush as well before they go out. Although their field today, Phil has actually started down there to clear some of the mud and the slop in the entrance there. You can see how bad it is already around the ring feeder on the left there. And with any luck, if he can move enough today, he can start getting some stone in there. We've got most of them up today. Here's Micah, just having a little rest in the box. I was quite shocked actually at how tubby she's looking. But that's the problem with this time of year, is finding the time to work them, as well as get them all cleaned up and looked after every day. It's not always easy. There's little Mable with her Mable hairstyle. She's just relaxing and munching before we head up to the vets. And then we've got Teddy Bear over here. As I said, he's had his toes done. And little Teddy Bear. Then Doutson's come in. Again looking nice and grubby. And we've got Hannes there. That noise in the background is Holly's over there with her special child having her other front hoof done, because some of you might know, but she's had a few abscess and one of her shoes was renewed last week, but not the other front shoe. Here's Yodel, little Yo-Yo, or big Yo-Yo, waiting patiently for her clean up. And then we've got Hoitsy Poitsy over here. Jubbers has abandoned you now, hasn't he? Yeah. Hoitsy, we have to be careful with his feet because he can't go any longer than 6 weeks. Otherwise you do get very pottery, don't you? I've just come down to get a bale of haylage for the top. There's Hole bringing Doubtson and Zhao back down to the field. They've been up, had their legs washed, had a feed. Now going back out to the mud again. And whilst we've got the boys all up at the yard, Phil has actually taken advantage and started in here to clear some of the mud out the way. And he's doing her usual and helping herself to the haylage before we get it in the barn. Making a right mess, aren't you? You're a messy girl. Annie's put out because we've taken the haylage away. But look, we've got the 4 boys in together. Obi on the right, Ice and Bear. That's Ice on the left and Bear in the middle, having mutual scratches. And then little JB, who's been free rein this morning, has decided to come in and join Nero over at the hay bar. Because JB can obviously walk under the fencing in here, because he's short enough. Teddy Bear, you're going to go back to a bit of mutual grooming with your buddy. Oh, his Jubba's coming in now. You want to get involved in the itching. He's playing with Obi. Are you going to pester Obi? Oh, you can have a wrong now. Oh, Obi-Wan, do you want me to take your jumper off as well? He's proper chewing on his legs.
It's like a little fetish ring. Did you let the pony in, or did he let
No,
himself
he just walked in on his own.
Okay.
He just went under the fencing. So he was over with Nero at the hay bar. This is why we should set the live up on this round pen, really.
Well, yeah,
So
but
anyone
it's
watching this, if you fancy us doing a live when we've got all of the boys in here.
yeah, it's only exciting when it's the boys. Annie's boring because all she does is eat.
Annie's not boring.
She
Well,
does-
yeah, she's me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, we were thinking of setting up the live camera on the round pen for anyone who just wanted to watch their antics. They don't always do fun stuff like this, but they're lovely just to watch. We could stand here for hours just watching them, but we've got all other sorts of stuff to do. Like I need to move the lorry now and go and get Mable loaded. Otherwise I would stand here and get you more footage. As my lorry's decided not to start now, I'll get you a little bit more. I'm going to try my lorry again now. Let's see if we're going to start. Oh, it just doesn't want to, and it's just come back from service as well. Oh, yes, that makes me happy. There we go. I've come in to take Opie's rug off, and I swear he always thinks that I'm trying to lunge him when I come in here. Because he started running around the outside. Do you not want your jumper off? Are you going to let me take your jumper off, Obi? Thank you. Soggy boy. Soggy. Now you can have a proper play with Jubbers. JB bullying you, Obi? Huh? Makes a change. Because nobody else bullies you, do they? He's just looking for trouble. Obi didn't get a leg wash like everybody else because he was having his feet done this morning. There's Teddy Bear on the right, Iceman. Hello, Iceman. Nero's just taking advantage of eating at the hay bar. Sorry, that's my horse box running in the background. boys. Sorry, I'm going to have to leave you to it. You enjoy yourselves out here this afternoon, eh? You jobbers. You like your big boyfriends, don't you?
I've just come out in the lorry with Mable. Just had to reverse up the road because the next lot of stones just arrived. We're heading up to Penrith now.
We were at the vet's. She's travelled really well. She hasn't even got sweaty. She's wondering what's going on. And we're just waiting for Neil to come out and have a look at that foot. See if we can work out what's going on.
We've got lameness of 6 weeks duration. Has it got better? Has it got worse? We've seen pus in the foot. There's no doubt about the initial diagnosis, but I definitely got doubts about the way she moves. It's not quite synonymous. I mean, you can't say that just from watching her trot, but I'm instantly suspicious is there another problem going on. I'm even more suspicious that when I examine her, she's got a palpable effusion in the coffin joint between the second and third phalangeal bone. And you know, you might get that with pus, and you don't often pick that up on palpation, so it usually means to me there's something, you know, more severe going on in that region.
Right.
So hence the x-rays. Now this is the lateral view, the side to side view. So just to orientate you, there's the coronary band.
Yeah.
You can see she's had a bit of a rough time lately because you can see all the growth ridges there. Pedal bone's in a nice position. You know, this is the joint. I'm not concerned about the joint per se, but it's symptomatic of something else. There's a navicular bone passing. There's the fetlock joint up there. Everything looks good, except I just see, and it's not diagnostic, a little dark shadow there. And I think,
Oh, okay. Which would be where it's been packed out from the abscess?
maybe. I mean, who knows? All I'm doing is sort of, you never try and, you've always got to remember when you're looking at x-ray images that you've got a 3D horse and you're looking at a 2D image, which is why we do go sort of round the clock and take various images.
Okay.
And it's always really dangerous to make a diagnosis off one image. So I just took the same lateral view, but just from a slightly different level, because my thoughts were if she's got an effusion here, maybe she's got ring bone and whatnot, and it's just been flared up, and she hasn't really. I'll just make this image a wee bit bigger. You know, you can see a bit of erosion there and maybe a spur here and there, but nothing. You know, the joint space is good.
Okay.
But again, I can see this wee line here.
So
That's an area of
so what would be that little dark area?
the triangle.
There? Yeah.
That's just the middle of the foot, because if I can find a foot in it, again, it's always worth, as I say to my useless students, it's always worth knowing your anatomy. Can't I? They are, because they don't learn their anatomy. And so what you're looking at is that, and you can see the curve in the foot. So you're looking through a lot of bone, less bone, a lot of bone, and that just reflects that, you know, the pedal bone's got a curve to it.
Okay.
And it is hard. You're taking a 3D thing like that and looking at.
So that's what that curve
That's normal, in other
would
words.
be.
Yeah, and that
Okay.
triangle you point out is just normal. It's just at that area you're shooting through less bone than, you know.
Yeah,
the more,
I would immediately look at that.
Yeah.
But that's a dark area. So is
Yeah.
that something?
yeah, quite. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, to me it's sort of second nature, but this
Okay.
isn't. You know, it's like, you know, it could be an X-ray anomaly. You can see she's got a bit of age on her, a teenager, because she has got these spurs and a little bit of side bone. You can see the lateral cartilages here have ossified, turned to bony bits. But again, nothing that would make her lame.
Okay.
Next, we did this one. I just wanted to look at the joints. Again, we can just blow this up a bit. And again, you know, there's a little bit wears and tears. See, there's a little, you know, fraction of arthritic bone on the pastern joint. And you can see her lateral cartilages have turned to side bone, which they often do in horses like this. It's nothing dramatic. It's a bit of a squinty leg, but that's not a problem either. So we're still thinking about those lines as the only thing we may have seen. So the next view is like this. We're now, I'll go to it. We're x-raying like that. We had a foot tipped up, so we're taking an image, boom, straight through the tipped up pedal bone, so we can look at the bone from a different angle. Look at this. You know, this is a confusing look because what we see, which I might see it better at the lower exposure. This is a, sorry, I should explain. I took two views. One is to highlight the navicular bone, so it's quite a high, punchy exposure. And there's the navicular bone superimposed on the pastern bone. And not that I thought she had navicular disease or anything, but let's look at it. You know, she could have a crack in that or something. But even at this is not the exposure for the pedal bone exactly. And they are confusing to look at because you see all these black lines.
Yeah.
And you think, oh Christ, you know, this horse multiply fractured itself. But these are all vascular channels. These are where the blood vessels run, because you have to remember that bone is a living thing and needs oxygen, you know, a blood supply. So these are the channels, and that's how good the x-rays are these days. You can see the blood channels.
So those aren't the black lines that you could see on the other x-rays?
No, they're not. But my eye is drawn to this, because these all run towards the middle. You know, all these ones are as I would expect. But what the heck is this? This is running contrary at right angles to the blood vessels. And if I just open it up a little bit, what's all this bone doing here? And
so that's bone.
Well, it's chipped off bone, and this line should sure as heck not be there. And it looks, although it's hard to tell, it could be running into the joint. So we'll go to the proper exposure for the pedal joint, and it shows up like a train track.
So that really dark shadow to the right.
So this line from here to here, and all the bits knocked off the end, and it does run up into the joint, which is why we've got an effused pedal joint, which is what I picked up on the exam. And this is a healing pedal bone fracture. No. Your horse has broken its foot.
Oh my God.
It doesn't look like a classic fracture because we're 6 or 7 weeks down the line.
Wow, so the abscess has
nothing to do with this. I mean, I suspect the abscess is an old, I mean, I'm not questioning you saw pus.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of pus on two different. He dug out the first time.
Yeah, sure.
And then found another little area where it was tracking in more towards the frog.
Yeah, this isn't a pus tract. You know, that's the other thing. It could be superimposed on the bone, but you can see it starts at the bone and stops at the end of the bone.
Right.
And it is without a doubt a fracture. And without a doubt, that is why she is lame. Now,
okay, so I mean, we could spend hours trying to work out how it's happened or why it's happened, but of course, we just need to look at what we can do now.
Yeah, it's always traumatic. You know, they don't break the bone standing in the box, but it can be a simple misstep, standing on a sharp object.
Well, let's face it, our fields are full of rocks.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly. But that is fractured pedal bone. It can't be anything else, and especially when.
So it's bizarre how she seemed to walk better for a few weeks, and then it's got worse again.
Yeah, or maybe she's fractured it subsequently to the pus. I don't know.
Could an abscess weaken the area? No. Okay.
The only thing, you know, if you've got a persistent abscess, the thing you're X-raying for, if they don't get better, is that the infection's got into the bone through a penetration, and you've got an osteomyelitis, where you get a sort of dark area where the bone's been eaten away, you know, a sort of a patch of blackness where there's no calcium left. But this is not typical of that at all. Now, my worry with her, this fracture's healing. You know, probably if you were to dissect this horse's foot out, you'd find that it was pretty stable already.
Okay.
You know, there'll be a lot of fibrous adhesion, and the best thing you can do is rest and put a big shoe on like you have to stabilise the foot, and this will heal.
Should she have a pad under there as well to protect the sole?
No, just, I mean, I've hoof tested it. The sole's like plaster of Paris anyway. It's as solid as a rock. And that's possibly also why she's more likely to have a fracture, because you know, the foot hasn't got any give.
There's no give, right?
You know, absolutely rock hard.
Which is what I find really bizarre, because she's been stood out in the wet.
Yeah. My worry with this is that because I can feel the effusion there, and because I think this tracks all the way up to the joint, that yes, this will heal. I have no doubts this will heal. Will she return to full soundness? Because because we haven't screwed that fracture together, you know, to the nearest micromillimeter,
Yeah.
there'll be a discrepancy, you know, up at the joint, and if there's an arthritic response there in the next few weeks, she'll be a lot sounder than she is now, but she may never be, you know, like event sound, because
Yeah, I mean, she's an older horse that,
yeah,
you know,
I know.
yeah.
We're looking at different
So,
criteria with
yeah.
her. So yeah, I don't know how it ties in with the pus in the foot. I suspect it's just one of these ridiculous coincidences.
So can I ask another silly question? So as we're looking at it from this point, where is the fracture when you're looking at it from this angle?
It's probably running up somewhere up the middle there. I mean, this is not the view you normally take to try and elicit the sight of a fracture, or even the signs of a fracture. I think we're just lucky that we've seen this, but this is the view, you know, to see a fracture, and it's a beauty. It could be just a crack in the base of it. You know, if it was a full through fracture, the two halves would sort of fall apart, I think.
Yeah.
So it's probably just a, you know, it's a crack that runs up, you know, literally.
So down the side of the frog, effectively. Or
yeah,
the
it's
toe.
just about, yeah, it's running. Yeah, it's an almost vertical one. It sort of runs like that, really.
Okay. So when you say rest,
Yeah.
is that box rest,
It
small
is.
turnout rest?
No, box rest. I mean, although we're into the healing process, she needs chance to lay. You know, there's probably a fibrous glue been laid down. You know, the first stages of a non-fixing fracture. But she needs more
perhaps
stability to.
The fact that she was sounder when we first put her out, but then obviously by moving around more, it's made it uncomfortable again.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long do you think we need to have her in?
Probably need to have her in. You know, I'm not quite sure how far into the process we are, but let's assume by looking at that it's a month. So I think we need to have her in for another month. And
definitely not even in a small turnout. She
No.
hates being in.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think really to give this chance to really settle down, I think it's better to be doing
Because
that.
do you remember our little turnout areas? Because they're not very big, because I know that when she's in a stable, because she gets stressy if she's on her own, she'll end up walking around more and more in the stable than she might do in a little turnout that's probably about the size of 3 stables.
Well, I mean, I think you sort of suck it and see, really. I mean, if she settled, you know, they all get prison mentality in the end, especially if you leave. If you can leave another one in with her.
Yeah, well, which we can do. That's fine.
But we need it the more stable it is, the quicker calcium will get put into this and the matrix of the bone will be repaired. And these little bits that I pointed out, that they're irrelevant really.
The little bits of bone.
They'll get resorbed.
So is there anything else that we can give her to help with this? No?
Nutraceuticals and things, theoretically make it, I mean, no. It's just time really. Just time.
Okay. So should we have her on a butadiene just
No,
to keep
she's not lame
just
enough.
keep no?
No, she's not lame enough. You could have her on a diet-a-day, that might help.
Don't be mean about poor Peppa. Well, you know.
It'd be a good chance to diet.
Well, it is a good chance to diet, isn't it?
Yeah,
but you know,
but
she's
she's
always been a voluptuous lady.
No,
Look
or
at that tummy.
voluptuous or fat.
Well, fat. Don't fat shame her.
No,
No, it would be a good
yeah.
reason
I mean, the less
to
weight
drop
she
a
has,
bit
the
of
less
weight.
weight she
Yeah,
has on
well,
that
yeah,
foot.
exactly. Okay, so Neil,
So, we'll speak again in a month. I probably won't x-ray in a month because we know it's in the healing phase and it's not displaced. If she's still a bit lame in 6 to 8 weeks, we'll re-x-ray again and look at that joint in detail. But I honestly fully expect by 2 months' time, the end of Feb, you'll be using her in the carriage.
okay, that'll keep her very happy because she
Yeah.
does love her driving.
Yeah, I don't have I mean, a fracture always carries a slightly guarded prognosis for full return, but a carriage horse going in a straight line is not a 4-star dressage horse. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's horses for courses, and I think she'll be fine.
And I think that's our best bet of keeping the weight off her as well. Because as Neil has said, she needs to have a diet now. I can't not feed her because I'll have her back here with ulcers then, won't I?
Feed her low energy.
She gets low energy rubbish and not rubbish, I can't call our feed rubbish.
Anyway,
Okay,
I think I'm feeling, well, we've made an unusual diagnosis, but we know what's going on. She's in the repair phase. I'm not going to lose sleep over it, and you shouldn't either.
wonderful. That's brilliant. Thank you, Neil. Little Maybelline, we're home. Let's get you off and into bed. Mabel, this is home now for the next month to 6 weeks. Not your happiest place to be stuck in a stable, but it is for the best. And we'll make sure that you've always got a companion next door to keep you company because we know you don't like to be on your own. Tonight you've got Annie. And then we'll make sure during the day you've got one of the other girls or one of the boys, which you'll be much happier with. And the diet starts today. Good night, little Peppa.